Hey, folks. This is Freedom Fighter. Hope everyone is doing well tonight. It is Saturday, July the 13th, and we have the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues. And this is our Saturday night call with the one and only Jester and myself. We're going to be breaking down two articles for you tonight. And tonight is going to be very, very insightful, especially when we get into the second article talking about Iraq. The first one is going to be about gold. But what we're going to do beforehand, we're going to open with a little bit of prayer and get this thing rock and rolling. Jester, you ready to rock and roll, my good brother? I forgot I have to give you a heads up. Jester, testing, 1, 2, 3. If you don't come on, we're going to start the prayer and then we'll get rocking and rolling. But I know you're here. You might be putting some oil on that squeaky chair or something, but we're going to open up with prayer. Father God, we thank you one more time for being here. We thank you for your love, your kindness, your mercy, your grace. Father, we would like to say a special prayer for President Trump. We would like to also thank you for your angels protecting him and covering him. We ask that with anyone that may have been injured during the tragedy in Pennsylvania, we ask that you give them and their families peace. And for those who have not perished, we ask that you give them a full recovery. We ask you, Father God, to cover our nation and provide peace and solidarity. We ask that you cover and protect not only the president, but any and all people who are attempting to do something for the betterment of not only our country, but for humanity as well. We ask that you protect against the spirits of envy, hatred, jealousy, that we know is so prevalent in the world. We ask that you cover the darkness with your light, and we pray in your precious name. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, so we are... Jester, are you able to unmute, my good man?
That's like saying, man, can I walk? Come on now.
That's like saying, can you talk?
It's like you'd be laying there with the little thing on my chest going, I fall and I can't get up.
Lord, were you able to get your Hummer?
Oh, yeah. It's sitting in the driveway. I'm loving it.
Nice. Awesome. We're going to cover some quick few announcements very quickly, my good man. And then you and I spoke earlier. I know that you're already up to speed on what we're going to go over tonight. But there's some real quick announcements, folks. First, before the announcements, I want to say that I am so honored. And I know I've said this before, but I'm just one to give flowers where flowers are due. I'm honored to share this platform with Jester, who for the longest of time, many years, was like the Lone Ranger in Dinar land, telling the truth. So I'm very blessed to share this platform with him. Very blessed to share the platform, especially on a daily basis in the room with Wiley Morgan, who is in our room being Wiley, a tremendous soldier and help to all of us. And of course, I would not be able to really do what I do in helping you all without the guidance and support of the knowledge and wisdom of Goldilocks. So I must give Goldilocks those flowers as well. And so I'm grateful, and I'm grateful for my guardian angel. I have two guardian angels. One you all see on Thursdays, and another one who's here with us all the time. So I'm just honored to share this with with those folks. And
okay, time out.
Go ahead, brother.
Time out. You guys don't have any clue who this guy is. This guy gives and gives and gives and gives and gives, and it's all for you guys. He don't ask for nothing. And I want to tell you, that's rare, very, very rare that you get somebody with the heart and the soul of a man like this. I'm just giving it back to you because you made me feel bad. Anyway,
I'm sorry, man.
Man, I'm telling you, I have never met anybody that just gave and gave and never asked for nothing. Mm. And I know what you get out of it. I get the same thing. I know the people coming and listening are your thanks. I get it. I get it too. Mm-hmm. But nobody says it enough. Okay, so I'm saying it for everybody. Man, we love you. We appreciate what you're doing, and man, we hope this goes on for a minute and we get this done together. How about that?
Absolutely, I appreciate it. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. Real quick, folks, we're going to cover some quick announcements. I wanted to just remind you all that Monday through Saturdays in the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues rooms from 8 a.m. to 4, we're there to answer any questions you have as it pertains to the articles that Goldilocks provides on a daily basis. And then also, of course, the overall GCR in the process, even though if some of the questions you may have may not be specific to the articles, but you're more than welcome to come on in to the room. And then also Monday through Saturdays. And then Monday through Saturdays in Jester's Place. Folks, I really, really encourage you to spend some time. Join Jester in Jester's Place. His room is open from 8 to 11 Eastern Standard Time, p.m. And it's not only just a party place. It's fun, but Jester shares an enormous amount of information going back 11, 12 years ago of information that he provides. And he gives his time and dedication after, sometimes maybe 10, 11 hours at work every day. And he comes into the room to really give himself. I'm a little younger than him, but I'm in bed way before he's in that room. I don't know how he does it. After his heart procedure, he has so much more energy. But also, I don't want to forget is that Jester they're in the process of getting the Republic Room back together. And if you want to understand and learn about your sovereignty and who you are and your birthrights as human beings, you want to get there in Jester's Place and become familiar when the Republic Room is open back up, and with Mason as well. And
we're going to start everybody in with a big announcement here shortly.
Awesome.
Nobody can refuse it.
Awesome. Love it. And last but not least, folks, on Thursdays, we have the Higher Learning Call with Anastasia and myself, where the last topic last Thursday was the spiritual RV. And Anastasia Angel was the person who introduced me to Dinar back in 2013. And she totally, just that connection with her, not just about the RV, but her spiritual excellence, and she's helped me to evolve to the spiritual being that I am. Funny, I tell the story how she was living in California and I was in Maryland, and I had some time with her with a phone to do some spiritual cleansing for me. And she told me, I was in my bedroom with the light on, and she says, before we do the spiritual work, you got to turn your light out. I'm like, how did you know that? What? And but very, very spiritually gifted, and we all have the gift. She just honed those gifts. But that's Thursday at Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so what we're going to do, there's 2 articles, like I said, that Jester and I are going to cover. The first one is going to be on gold. The second one is going to be on Iraq and some latest developments with Iraq. So what we're going to do, let me share the first article in the room, and we're going to rock and roll. And then, of course, we're going to go through these 2 articles, and we're going to open up for some Q&A. And speaking of Q&A, Jester and I had a impromptu session, Q&A, spill the beans yesterday, and it was classic. No, we did not record it, and that was on purpose. And
because we didn't want any proof of that.
Right. Exactly. Exactly right. All right, here we go. I dropped the first one into the room, and this morning when speaking of Goldilocks, this article stood out very heavily, and also the next one by Iraq. And so we're going to jump on in and we're going to get rocking and rolling. The London Bullion Market Association and the World Gold Council have recently been advocating for gold to become a high quality liquid asset. The LBMA, which is the London Bullion Market Association, has done their research, and they gave to the Bank of International Settlements a working paper that provides the benefits of reclassifying gold from a tier 1 asset to a sound money regime. If accepted, gold would be seen as money. From what we are seeing inside Basel III banking system, that is about to come into play. This is certainly the next moves. In order for money to have a level playing field with tokenized assets that are backed by gold, this is just simply the next step. I'm going to pause because this paragraph that is provided by Goldilocks it's sort of the timing is very interesting to what happened tonight to Trump, and I'm going to read it again. From what we are seeing inside a Basel III banking system that is about to come into play, this is certainly the next moves. In order for money to have a level playing field with tokenized assets that are backed by gold, this is just simply the next step. Back in 2017, some of you all may recall when President Trump was questioned by a journalist about the devaluation of currencies, he made it very clear that his goal and his plan was to level the playing field when it comes to currencies. And so, although some of us may believe and think that while he was allegedly out of office, that he didn't have much to do with what's going on in our banking system, well, he did a lot before he left his first term. So, the next paragraph by Goldilocks. Reclassifying gold as a high quality liquid asset improves liquidity, or it improves money, cash flow, and it enhances market stability, creates trust and confidence in the financial system, provides overall economic and financial stability, and regulatory compliance benefits. This is regulatory compliance benefits is the legalities and the legal framework to regulate. The LBMA and WGC believe that gold meets the criteria of the HQLA under Basel III regulations. They list several reasons that support gold's classification as an HQLA, such as gold's high credit standing, gold's low legal risks, gold's denomination in US dollar, gold's low volatility, meaning that the fluctuation of price as it pertains in the value of gold doesn't fluctuate heavily, but it remains stable. Gold's negative correlation with risky assets. Gold's active and sizable market. Now, on April the 11th, 2023, and I'm sure many of you may be familiar with this, the state of Arkansas moved to recognize gold and silver as legal tender with the Arkansas Legal Tender Act. This act allows the use of all forms of gold and silver bullion to pay off debts. Quote, following the lead of the Utah Legal Tender Act of 2011, already 43 U.S. states have adopted legislation that simplifies the use of gold and silver coins as money. This comes straight from Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution, which states, quote, no state shall make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, end quote. Take a close look at the new digital asset-based trading system, Goldilocks says, often referred to as the quantum financial system. I'm going to repeat that because when you hear or see Goldilocks state the new digital asset-based trading system, that is the quantum financial system because it's asset-backed, it's asset-based. Everything turns to gold, and the use of it is just simply sound money. Gold will set us free. Then Goldilocks provides the supporting articles stating of what is transpiring as it pertains to the value of gold. We know that gold will back our currencies, all currencies. And just for a point of reference, and in my conversation with Goldilocks, not only today, but several times, and I wanted to share this with you all as it pertains to gold, because you may have a question about when can we consider to see a gold standard. And what Goldilocks explained very intelligently is that you all may recall a few months ago where Goldilocks provided some articles by the Bank of International Settlements as it pertains to wholesale CBDCs, which are bank-to-bank, central bank to central bank transactions versus retail CBDCs, where, of course, our privacy for some are in question. Wholesale CBDCs is totally different, and we have our privacy protected. CBDC stands for central bank digital currency. So wholesale, when we have these central banks that have their currency, such as the US dollar with the Federal Reserve, the Iraqi dinar, Central Bank of Iraq, State Bank of Vietnam, Vietnamese dong, and whatever currency exists, it's connected to the central banks. So when you have wholesale central bank digital currencies, and those central banks will, in the new quantum financial system, back their currencies with gold. Their currencies move digitally by way of the wholesale CBDCs. That gives way and enables gold to be set as the standard. So I wanted to preface that because I know some have questioned to understand that before, and I wanted to take this opportunity to explain that to you all. And before we get into the next article, I'm going to turn to my good brother from another mother. Jester, did you want to add anything to that, my good man?
I might be able to help. Hang on
just
a little bit.
Sure,
now.
Sure.
That's a killer article, by the way. Goldilocks has nailed that one. But I think maybe I can help the people a little bit because I'm not sure they understand what a high quality liquid asset is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so that's you know me. I like to go back to the basics.
Go ahead.
And the high quality liquid assets include those only those with high potential to be converted easily and quickly into cash. In other words, you could pull it out and cash it out like immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's kind of in times of distress to a certain extent. However, they can be converted into cash quickly through sales or being pledged as collateral or whatever, with no significant loss of value, so they can use them to bolster things. One of the things about the Annex 1 of BIS was the LCR, the liquidity coverage ratio that covers the Basel III. And maybe this is too technical. I don't know if it is. Then tell me now, and I'll
you're
get
good.
off it. Because the LCR has two components, and this tells you something. I mean, this tells you where Goldilocks really is, and how they're looking at things. The value of the stock of the high quality liquid asset, and the total net cash outflows are what's important here. And basically, it's the stock of the HQLA over the net cash outflows. It needs to be greater than 100%. So, for instance, if you have a bank, and you want to, the bank's LCR is, let's say, 55 million. In other words, they have that much of that, high quality liquid asset in there, $55 million worth of gold. Let's call it, okay. And they have a 35 million enhancement. The cash net cat flows over a 30-day period, which is pretty big bank, quite frankly. So if the bank's LCR is 55 million over 35 million, that works out to 157%, which is the requirement is met under Basel III. It has to be above 100. Now, you think about this for a second, what I'm telling you here. It seems like, okay, he just read us some crap that doesn't make any sense. Well, it's the truth. All right. But what I'm telling you here is Basel III requires these banks to have gold in their thing to cover their stuff. This is huge. All right. Right?
Absolutely.
I just read you the scenario where it has to happen that way. It has to be above 100%. So these liquidity, they call it liquidity coverage ratio, by the way. And you can look that up on you can look it up wherever you want to. But the impact of Basel III on the gold market is that these are forcing these banks to get their shit together.
Right. Sorry, we got a new swear jar.
Yeah, I know.
No, we don't have one. We don't need one here.
I know I filled that stuff up last night. I hope I didn't. You know what? That was such fun last night. I got to tell you, I had so much fun last night with those folks. And it was a hoot. And you guys ought to come and hang out with us every now and then, because if that happens very often, we're gonna be the best crews on the planet. So that was a hoot. I'm telling you, it was fun.
It's funny you said it, because we've gotten some feedback that people feel as if they truly enjoy the Saturday night calls, but they like the sort of the off the cuff type of conversations we had that also shared a lot of intel and insight that we don't share on a recorded call.
Well, there is that. That's the truth. They probably like to be a little uncensored, I hope, but maybe not too much.
Absolutely.
But so, this whole impact of the Basel III on the gold market is huge, because the banks are going to have to meet this requirement. And I'm not saying they got to have gold to do it. It could be silver, I suppose. Could be anything that's a liquidity instrument that would get it done immediately, instantly. But this just goes to show you. Now I'm going to tell you. I'm going to throw one more little doodad out there, and then
go ahead, brother.
Let me know if I'm crazy or not. So we're going to gold backed, right? Now, this rule right here that you brought forth today, and I just uncovered, the liquidity coverage ratio and all that according to the Basel III. this is a rule. This is going to
Right.
happen.
Right.
And so everybody likes to know, okay, how are we going to get gold back? Well, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
So now, I know we got the dollar refunding project, UST, and all that sort of thing. We got to get gold back money and all that, and it's all going to change over. And I get it, right? We spilled that on the call last night. I'm sure everybody told everybody anyway. But
Right.
well, it is what it is. But this is huge, simply because this is the end piece. This is the missing piece.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one that kind of ties everything together. Now we've got to bring the UST into it yet. Still, I'm pretty sure I got the idea on that, but I'm not willing to tell everybody yet. I'll get there. But this right here is the bank side of where it's going to happen. And if Robert's right and we get nationalized, then that's the answer. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. And if you can shed some light also on this, I'm sure, where many of the banks that wouldn't meet the cut, they're already have probably merged or been swooped up by another large bank already.
Well, yeah, because they can't make it happen any other way, and they're not going to be here if it doesn't.
Right.
I mean,
and I wanted to highlight that because I know some people may be concerned about their banks. You know, what about this bank? What about that bank? Well, we're at a point now where most banks have already most banks that met the requirements have already done so.
Well, they knew this was coming. This was not like a secret. We just didn't know about it yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Exactly.
But you're right. I mean, the fact of the matter is that the banks that can't get this done aren't going to be there.
Yeah.
They will get gobbled up by somebody else that'll get it done for them, and then they'll move forward from that, because quite frankly, they can't get past it. It is what it is. It's a rule.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They can't do it.
And this is why Goldilocks has shared so much about Basel III capital requirements for the last 3 years, and as well, where you've shared a lot of information as far as the importance of banks in Basel III compliance. And folks, this is why we were very adamant over the last several months about establishing relationships with a bank that is Basel III compliant, because we were prepared for this, and we wanted you to be prepared with the information.
Well, let me be clear about one thing. We knew Basel III was going to be important, but we didn't have a damn clue why. And that's a fact. Okay. Back in the day when we were doing this back in 2015 and all that, and I've uncovered all those articles, by the way, that go back to 2013 now. We've cured all the Gesture articles. Mm-hmm. And we're probably going to put them over there in our side. Mima is working on that right now. And we're probably going to put them all over there. I put a few in so far for the people because now it's a rudimentary beginning, because we didn't really get what was going on. Like I told you guys before, we thought we knew what had to happen, and it turns out we were right. But Goldilocks is tying all the little pieces together. So you guys keep doing what you're doing, because quite frankly, I mean, I'm just liking to sit here and say, they're tying a little bow around my present. It's good.
That's awesome. All right. Ready to jump into the next one?
I am.
Let's rock and roll. Folks, so the next article, before we get to the actual article that Goldilocks provided on Iraq yesterday, I provided a screenshot with 2 links as it pertains to categories A and B. One is anti-money laundering, and the other one is the reclassifying of the dinar to A and B. The first one with the categories A and B, anti-money laundering, Goldilocks shared this article on May the 4th, 2023. Now, the article that Goldilocks provided yesterday, that's from the CBI. If you recall, when I did the audio, I mentioned that Goldilocks had, and I used the analogy of looking into 20 or 30 different locations and agencies in order to compile the one article provided yesterday that I'm sharing here below from the FITR platform. So understand and know that article, if someone, and I mentioned this in the audio yesterday, the average person looking on the CBI website and they saw the FITR platform mentioned on the CBI website, an average person. Yeah, can you hear me?
We can now, just barely though.
You barely? Okay, 1 second. Okay.
Your voice hasn't changed, Freedom.
Okay, how's this? Can you guys hear me?
Say something, Lady E, so we can hear if you're there.
I think it's your computer, Jester. Freedom voice hasn't changed. The quality is still good.
Okay, very well.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Lady E. So if the average person looks at the CBI website and they saw the activity transactions on the FITR platform quote on the CBI, they may not be informed enough or connected enough, such as Goldilocks, to be able to look in 20 or 30 different places to truly understand what this really is. This article provided by Goldilocks yesterday, quoted by the CBI on the FITR platform, Goldilocks has been tracking for almost 2 years. Proof positive, going back to just recently as in April, and going back to May the 4th, 2023. If you look at the screenshot that I'm sharing, it connects to the article. And I shared a link, and it's from May the 4th, 2023, where it says, for the purpose of strengthening the supervisory system of the Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing Reporting Unit and all licensed companies, scenarios for anti-money laundering and terrorist financing systems have been prepared, which are compatible with the financial work environment in Iraq, and licensed exchange companies of the two categories A and B can adopt them as a minimum for their electronic systems to view what? AML, anti-money laundering. If you so choose, when you get time, you can click on the link, and that link goes directly to Goldilocks' room from May the 4th last year regarding this. And this all connects to the article for FITR platform that Goldilocks shared yesterday. April the 9th, 2024 is the second link. I'm sure several of you who have been following Goldilocks recall that Goldilocks shared directly from the CBI. The second link is right there, where the dinar was going to be reclassified as a category A and B by the end date of March the 31st, 2024. Previously, the dinar was classified as a C, not A or B, but Iraq gave themselves a deadline to reclassify the dinar from category C to A, B. Now, by doing so, that enabled, by reclassifying to A and B, it also gave way for Iraq to be able to register the dinar with the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, due to the fact that Iraq met that deadline on March the 31st, 2024, to reclassify the dinar. It gave way for the article provided by Goldilocks yesterday, showing that now, meeting that deadline of reclassifying the dinar, that now they can participate in the FITR platform which is the article provided by Goldilocks yesterday in this next one. Now, within this write-up, in this article provided by Goldilocks, and this is where, folks, I want you all to really grasp the opportunity and the blessing you have to have Goldilocks, Wiley, and Jester here. Jester, in this next article I'm going to read about Goldilocks, Jester has been saying some of the same information. And remember, Jester and his connections to the UST, Goldilocks and their global connections to many different agencies, both converging to coincide and have some of the same information. So we're going to get into it. This is quoting from the CBI. Activity transactions on the FITR platform. That is just right from the CBI, folks. And if you get a chance, you can click the first link when you have time, which is direct to the CBI. But you may not understand what it means. Goldilocks does an amazing job bringing it all together. Iraq is now showing transaction activities on the FITR platform. Remember, they met their deadline by the 31st, March 31st. Now they can move into this platform. From the category A and B, they met the deadline. Iraq is now showing transaction activities on the FITR platform. The FITR are exchange-traded funds that come under the category of cross-currency swaps. Currency ETFs, exchange-traded funds, are exchange-traded funds that track the comparative value of a currency. These investment mechanisms allow people like you and me to gain exposure to the Forex market. And this is a quote from the article. Quote, cross-currency swaps are commonly used for fixed income investments where the cash flows are known with a high degree of certainty. Hedging currency risk with cross-currency swap effectively creates a synthetic local currency denominated bond by converting the bond's foreign currency denominated cash flows or risk into a stream of local currency payments. Cross-currency swap hedging strategies can be tailored for either the activity strategies or passive buy and hold fixed income strategies. Now, the next, from this point forward in this article provided by Goldilocks, it's going to give you an in-depth explanation. It's going to bring home full circle much of what Goldilocks has been sharing about not only the entire banking system, but specifically about Iraq as well. And then you're going to see where Jester has been saying some of the same information, been sharing the importance of some of the same information we're going to talk about that Goldilocks shares moving forward in this article. Let's go. Here is how the above quotation works. The Exchange Stabilization Fund of the U.S. Department of Treasury can purchase or sell foreign currencies. The ESF, remember, the Exchange Stabilization Fund, also includes special drawing rights, which are international reserve assets created by the International Monetary Fund. The Exchange Stabilization Fund can also enter into warehouse swaps with the Federal Reserve System. Remember, this is connecting to and reference to the FITR platform that Iraq is not able to participate in. And when we're talking about the Exchange Stabilization Fund, folks, we're talking about globally. This is international. This is not specifically about Iraq. This is just Iraq now being able to participate and come to the table with the Exchange Stabilization Fund, and also the Federal Reserve. Why? Because now they can participate in the FITR platform. I'll continue. The Federal Reserve has a purchase facility for foreign and international monetary authorities, also known as the FEMA repo facility. This allows foreign account holders to temporarily exchange Treasury securities for dollars to meet potential liquidity needs. Foreign account holders, folks, are institutions, banks, central banks, hedge funds. This is not individuals. This allows foreign account holders, think big, think international banks, think central banks. This allows foreign account holders to temporarily exchange Treasury securities for dollars to meet potential liquidity needs. According to, and this is where you've heard Jester mention many times, according to Treasury Direct, Treasury bills, notes, bonds, tips, and FRNs are transferable, so you can buy or sell them in the secondary market. If you recall, Category A and B is in reference to the buying and the selling of currencies in the secondary market. Goldilocks continues. Yes, foreign currency, also known as Forex, is traded on the secondary market, which includes equities and fixed income instruments like bonds. The foreign exchange market is a decentralized over-the-counter marketplace that determines the exchange rate for currencies around the world. Goldilocks says, and wants to make this very important for you to understand, let me end this dialogue, Goldilocks says, where we began. And this is a direct quote from the CBI website itself. Quote, activity transactions on the FITR platform, end quote. This gives us an idea of how close we are. Let me be clear. We do not know if these are testing transactions or actual transactions at this time, but we do know they are in the training for the use of this trading mechanism for a reason. And then Goldilocks provides several supportive documentation and links. Number one, the first one, of course, is directly by the CBI. The second is by the SEC, which gives you a description and understanding. The third is by Charles Schwab. All right. So the FITR platform, just to summarize, Goldilocks has been tracking this for several years, going back as recent as April. And then before that, also in May of last year, where Iraq, let it be known, announced last year that they were going to target a date and a time to be prepared to reclassify the dinar from a category C, not only dinar, but their exchange facilities within Iraq to be reclassified from category C to A and B. Now, just think of, just like in school, A, B, and C. Of course, A is passing, B is passing, C is average. So the category where Iraq was at as far as the exchange facilities and the dinar was average. There was C. Now they have met the timeline to be reclassified via A and B as of March the 31st of this year. And by way of meeting that deadline, they can now participate on this FITR platform. Iraq is just showing you on the CBI website, activity transactions are being recorded. Now the question that Goldilocks shares is, the question is if they're testing transactions or actual transactions. Nonetheless, they're qualified to have these transactions on this platform that's connected to and affiliated with the Exchange Stabilization Fund, also the IMF, and the Treasury Direct accounts. I won't go into too much detail because this is definitely Jester's kit and caboodle, and then I'll come in and share some as well. Jester, your thoughts, young man?
Well, I tell you what, here's the thing, and I think Goldilocks is smart, quite frankly, for taking a wait and see attitude on what's going to go down here, because I think that's what we're all kind of doing, except Robert. Robert's like, predicting that everything's going to be nationalized and we're going to U.S. Treasury Direct and all that sort of thing. Now, we've been farting around with this ESF for a minute. I mean, we knew about these guys. I don't know. It's been 5 or 6 years ago, but we didn't know what they were trying to do because, quite frankly, that stuff was under the radar at the time. The Exchange Stabilization Fund was where I think the economic hitman used that money to go bust up countries. I mean, I'm serious.
Because it's an unlimited
that stuff was. Yeah,
it's an unlimited amount of money. Goldilocks made it very clear. It's an unlimited amount of money in the Exchange Stabilization Fund.
It was it's unbelievable. So I mean, here's the thing. By the way, and I'll pass this to you, and you can pass it to Goldilocks. But I've got the balance sheets of the Exchange Stabilization Fund. So,
oh wow, okay,
yeah, that'll freak you out a little bit, quite frankly, because it's interesting stuff. It really is. I mean, I've got annual reports for the years. Now they don't come up past 2022. So the monthly financial statements, so I can get back to May, okay? But the audit reports, and these are Office of the Inspector General type things from the Department of the U.S. Treasury. I mean, these are pretty serious things. And so, I'm still trying. You know what I'm trying to figure out? You know what the weirdest thing that happens to me? Why do they leave that page blank and then right on there, this page is intentionally left blank? Does that make any sense to anybody?
That's a pet peeve. That's a pet peeve of yours, obviously.
I know it makes me crazy. So they have these audits, and this is some interesting stuff because, quite frankly, these guys are actually putting it out there where the money is, and the SDRs, the whole ball of wax. I mean, they're willing to tell you that the liabilities are this and the assets are this. And if you watch over the years, if you go back like me and Red Wolf did, and you read every one of those stupid things for every year for the last 10, 12, 15 years, you see where things have moved. You see how things have changed. Goldilocks is on the right track, quite frankly. I mean, we know this is the way it's going to go. We know that's where the SDRs are. We know the IMF already has the foothold into the USD. And that's okay. The problem what we don't know, this is totally disconnected from the discussion that you are having. Let me just back off that and I'll keep with you. The Exchange Stabilization Fund being the emergency reserve account to use to mitigate the instability in finances or economics or worldwide credit or whatever, with respect to the U.S. of course. And so these guys, all they do is manipulate money. That's all they do. You know what I mean? Yeah. All they do is make sure that everything's going the way they like it. They're the economic hitmen of the world, and that's the fact. So, but here's you want to know something really strange? I mean, this is will freak you out. I promise you it will. The ESF was created and financed by the Gold Reserve Act of 1934.
Yes. Yes. After
is that crazy or what?
There was Goldilocks shared that with me as well this morning. As a result of the recession, the Great Depression. Yep. I'm sorry,
but somebody knew that they needed to get something done, right? And that's how long this has been under the radar, because obviously the Fed was created right before that, right?
Right, in 1931, 33.
Yeah, 1933. And so, if you look at, think about this for a second. This is crazy, because the timing is freaky.
Yeah.
Hang on just a second. My bad. I've lost my screen. All right. So anyway, you have there was the Fed was created back in 1913 or whatever. Woodrow Wilson was the president and all that, and he limited it. Maybe that was the worst thing.
Yeah, 1913. That's in 1931.
Yeah, right. So here comes the ESF, right? And this is in 1934. And I'm thinking to myself, didn't we just have a stock market crash, right? I mean, so They realized there was a problem. So they
Yeah.
started exchange stabilization fund to help, what do you want to call it? Well, it's self-explanatory. Stabilization fund was to stabilize the assets, the U.S. dollars, the foreign currencies, and the drawing rights. Oddly enough, the special drawing rights were in there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you think about this for a second, folks. The special drawing rights are the money of the IMF, of course. And so we don't know if we're not going there or not. There's something going on with that, and I think that's going to come together with the BRICS, because I think the BRICS is in charge of the IMF right now anyway. Well, that's not true. I think the AIB is in charge of the IMF. But
you're right, because they're in charge of the BRICS, the AIB.
Exactly.
One of the original founders.
Exactly. Look at you go. But this is how it all ties together, you see. And so, this fund here having the responsibility for the SDR is huge. I'll get you these audit forms and stuff, and the balance sheets and stuff, as quick as I can, because this is where, you wouldn't believe. There's 152 billion of special drawing right allocations in this thing. It's kind of quite a lot of money, actually, right? So, and of course, that's not going to cover our money. I'll talk about how they're going to cover our money later.
Especially from the gold.
Yeah, now we're talking. See, here's the thing. I don't know if I should drop this in the middle of a freaking live call, quite frankly. Let me hold on here.
If you're thinking about it, then you shouldn't.
Let me just hold on to that one for a minute. I'll get with you and decide what to do with it, okay? But I know what's going to happen now. Mason and I we know what's going to happen now. So I'm just not willing to blow everybody's brains up yet. But you guys, I tell you what, I love this article. I love the ESF. We farted around with it. Here's just like I told you a minute ago. We played around. We knew this was there. We just didn't know what to do with it.
The Treasury Direct?
Well, the ESF.
Oh, the ESF, yeah.
We knew it was there. In fact, back when we figured it out, we thought, damn, if we tell anybody about this, we might get black SUV'd, And that's how under the radar this was back 5, 6, 7 years ago. Really? I was talking to Red Wolf, and I says, dude, they may come and get us. He's like, we were kind of like out on the leading edge of some secret stuff. Anyway, it is what it is. I'm glad it's out there. I'm glad Goldilocks is talking about it, because I think this is the key to part of it, and it is, because the economic hitmen, they got to go down, and the ESF's got to go back the other direction and take care of things. It is what it is.
Right. Yeah, it was phenomenal the way Goldilocks, like I said, pulled from many different directions and agencies in order to bring it full circle to Iraq being able to participate on this platform. Whereas, like I said, someone just looking at the CBI web, I know, just looking at the CBI website and seeing that one isn't going to be able to connect the dots to the global mechanism and how Iraq is connecting to it. So, but I knew.
I apologize that I didn't even go there on Iraq, because, quite frankly, that's in my wheelhouse. You know that.
Right.
No, the ESF, he's got that all right. I promise you.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome. All right, we're at 10 o'clock. Good man. You ready to open up for some Q&A?
I am ready to have some fun.
All right, we got Amy up first, folks. Feel free to raise your hand if you're sure, and we will come to you. Amy, you can unmute, and folks, start raising your hand. I'll get you in queue. Amy, can you unmute, young lady? There you go. Hello. Or maybe Amy. That was an accident, maybe Amy. So, she dropped. Okay, we lost her. Maybe she had a bad connection. All right, we'll get Amy if she comes back on. Looks like she dropped. All right, folks, feel free to raise your hand, and we will come to you. I know we didn't do such a good job, Jester, that people don't have any questions.
Well, I'm hoping they just like to know what I'm having for dinner or something. I don't know.
Want freedom.
Surely to goodness, I mean, this is a highly technical thing, and people should have questions. Well, I mean, maybe we are doing a good job. I don't know.
I think we explained. Want freedom. I love that name. Want freedom. You can unmute.
Oh, that's a good name, actually. That is a good name.
Yes, hello. I am interested in cryptocurrency, obviously. And I know I've heard announcements about the 29th being that XRP is going to be labeled as a standard. Now, my question is, in accordance to, say, HBAR and XLM, where are they going to fall?
As far as
like
go ahead, Jeff.
Strong currencies.
Go ahead, Jester. I cut you off. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's my fault. I think I cut you off. And quite frankly, I didn't have a frame of reference for most of this. But here's the thing. I think most of this stuff is highly fluctuational at best. And, unless you've got a very good idea of what the use papers of most of these coins are, I've been screwing around with that since 2014. I made 2 Bitcoins at one point in time off of $4,000, just so you know. And, crypto is it's a good way to do things, but not if that's all you got. If I was doing crypto, I would tell everybody, buy a little bit every week or buy a little bit every month or whatever you do and build it up that way. But if you're trying to make a wad of money on one investment on crypto, you're probably backing up. The people that I know that have made money on crypto did it over a period of time and did it over, buying a little bit here and a little bit there and building up a portfolio. You're asking for a person that doesn't have any specific relationship to the reality of crypto to make a decision for you on what you should invest in. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to tell you what to buy because, quite frankly, this whole scenario with crypto is sort of a crapshoot. And I don't know how you feel about it, Freedom. Maybe you got a better idea than I do, but people bring up these cryptos all the time. You think HBAR is good? You think XLM is good? You think XRP is good? What I know is that there's a use case for all of them. Mm-hmm. If you believe in the use case, then you should invest in them a little bit. I wouldn't go carried away on this. I think that I'm going to say this is going to piss everybody on this call off. I think all of you are looking for a shortcut. And there's not one. There's no shortcut. You gotta invest properly, you gotta invest wisely, and you gotta do it over a long period of time. There's no get rich quick scenario in this deal. There's not. Look how long you've been. Okay, let's go here. Look how long you've been screwing around with Dinar land. How long have you been involved with this? 10 years? Okay, so over a 10-year period, you invested $1,000 for $1 million dinar, and you're hoping for a big return. But it's been. I mean, you guys look at that the way you like to look at it. But the crypto is the same thing. Nobody knows the answer to this. You can listen to the gurus out there just the same as you can listen to the gurus on Dinar Land. And nobody knows. But what I can tell you is that if you invest a little bit at a time, over a long period of time, you're probably going to be okay if you've got a good use case scenario with the crypto you're looking at. Like a Bitcoin.
Yeah, I do believe in dollar cost averaging. That's for sure. And I don't believe in putting your eggs in all in one basket.
There you go. You're doing the right thing then.
Very smart.
Yeah, diversify.
That's a fact. That's it right there. That's
you go.
That's
but
good.
More or less, all I was trying to get at was, where do you put H-bar in your thinking? That's all I was trying to say.
Scenario?
Pardon?
Do you believe in the use case scenario?
From what I have researched, I believe H-bar is, along with ISO compliant coins, along with XRP, XLM, and XDC.
Yes, can I help you out on this a little bit too?
Go to $10. I don't know if it's true. It's like 7 cents right now, or something like that. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I know where they're sitting right now.
Where I'd tell you, okay, it's 7 cents. Go out there and buy 1,000 shares and see what happens. If it goes up to 10,000, then you got 10, or it goes up to 10 grand. Or, excuse me, my bad. If it goes up to $10, you got 10 grand for $70 buy. That's all. I mean, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah,
but it's 7 cents.
Yeah,
I spent $70 on freaking Mexican dinner on Friday night, so I could have had.
You spent a lot of 7 cents on that tequila you had too.
Well, there is that.
Anyway, I appreciate everything that you've been bringing forward for us from Goldilocks. Really good information, but I don't want to waste any more of your time. Thank you very much.
It's not a waste of time. It was a good question, and I think here's what I think. I think that these questions are good for everybody, and thank you for bringing it out on the call. Quite frankly, because we get a chance to answer it for everybody, and everybody gets it now. You see what I'm saying? It was a good exercise.
Absolutely. Thank you for your question, One Freedom. And Amy, I see you are back. It looks like we had you, then you dropped. And then we're coming to you, Rebellious Slave. We saw your hand up.
Oh, my God.
Amy.
Really? I'm going to need to take a bathroom break for that one.
I know, right? All right, Amy, you can unmute. Okay, looks like Amy's having some issues again. Okay. All right.
Hey,
okay, all right, Rebellious.
All right. Jester couldn't have said it any better when he said it. You have to look at the use case scenario when it comes to crypto. Or in other words, that's just the utility. When it comes to crypto, you need to ask yourself, what are you investing in? Are you investing in today's market, or are you investing in what we're going to have after all of this comes down? Now, if you're investing in the latter, then what's happening in crypto today, next week, or on the 29th shouldn't matter. It's not time for any of that yet. You might ask about certain projects like HBAR. Now, HBAR is ISO 2002 compliant. Now, I don't personally know a whole lot about the project, and that's something that you're going to have to dive into. I remember when I did that with SHX, same thing. You got to really look at it and see, is this a project you can believe in? With SHX, for example, one thing that I really liked about it is if I was, say, a tradesman and I did some work for you.
Hey, 1 second. I'm sorry. Rebellious. I apologize. One thing we want to do is stick to questions because other people this may be a little over technical for a lot of people. So if we can stick to questions, we'll appreciate it. But thank you for your help, though.
Yeah, no worries. I just was trying to help clear that up. Like, nobody's going to be getting rich on the 29th on, crypto or whatever.
Exactly.
Well, that's the
all I was trying
truth.
to interject. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get off that.
Oh, you're good, my good man. We appreciate you, man.
Hey, thanks a lot for backing us up.
All right, appreciate you. All right. And Rebellious, did you have a question as well while you're here? Oops. Okay, there you go. You can unmute.
No, I didn't have a question. I was just interjecting on the crypto thing because
Okay.
I realized like a bunch of people were kind of fuzzy on it, and you guys sometimes talk about it. I didn't mean to like drift off topic or anything.
No, we're used to it. Don't worry.
But if anyone has questions about crypto, like outside of this, you guys can message me, and I'll answer anything I can.
Awesome.
Come over and hang out with us. We got crypto people coming out our butts. So there you go.
There you go. And Rebellious, he's around a lot, folks. So he's
Yep, he is.
Thanks for your offering of help, a good man. And he loves flowers. He loves roses too. Just so you. Well, he does love flowers. He loves plants. We won't talk about those plants, but
we won't talk about which plants.
Right.
They're all God's plants, right? I love it.
Exactly. All right, folks.
You and Reese need to get together, Rebellious. That's all I can tell you.
Oh yeah, Reese.
She likes plants too.
Oh, I thought you were going to say about crypto. I thought she's pretty sharp.
No, she knows more than I do about crypto. And
well, you're talking about the plants.
These guys are two pods and a pea. It is what it is.
All right. Oh man. All right, folks. All right, so let's see. Raise your hand. We'll get to the next question. Please feel free to raise your hands. Raise your hands. Okay. As soon as we say we're going to cut off in 5 minutes, then people will start raising their hands.
There's like 84 people on here. Surely to get it, somebody's got a question.
There's plenty of questions in the room.
I know that, and I can answer that question if you ask it, but it is what it is.
All right, so we might have an early night. Oh, because we
asked me about rate and date. You know that, right?
Oh yeah. And Jester, you said you're gonna come back to some information. I think there was something you were going to cover that you wanted to come back to.
I wonder what it was.
I'm trying to remember now. I just thought about it.
Well,
I don't know if you want.
You think about it. I might have had that conversation with myself at the beginning of the call.
Yeah, because you had mentioned that there was something.
Was it about the USD? Okay. Well, here's the thing. I kind of decided maybe we ought to talk to Goldilocks about that first, because I got a pretty good idea that Robert and I have figured out, and Red Wolf and I have figured out, and we, one of the things that I can tell you guys is, way back in the day, which we uncovered all of the Jester archives recently. Mm-hmm. And so we've been kind of going back through them. And one of the things I had forgotten, and you guys don't know any of these people, quite frankly. Back in the day, there was General 64, and everybody thinks that they understand what the General 64 group is all about. But they don't have a clue that he was a real guy, and back in the day, that we would be talking to him, and he was kind of a dick, but that's okay. It is what it is. And we had all these people. Studley, nobody probably remembers Studley. Studley passed away several years ago. We had, why can't I might have to get some help here. We had a Canadian chick that. I'm having a brain fart on what her name was. Anyway, and there was all these people grunting, and what we did know back then was they were talking to. This was before I got into the group. I mean, this was way early on, and we were aware that she was talking to a USD guy that she called Sweet Cheeks. I'm not sure why. Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he was cute, and I don't know. Maybe they were. I don't know. She was weird anyway. Although I understood she was real good looking because she was talking to Studley, and anyway, Studley was one of the original, really one of the original Dinar gurus. I mean, he really the kind of the inception of things. Okay. And if anybody goes back and finds that, then I'd be glad to see the data. But it predated me by a pretty good bit. And they always talked about the dollar refunding project. Now, the only reason I'm throwing this out here, and I'm not going to throw it all out here, but I'm going to give you something to think about. If there was a dollar refunding project, and there was the UST, and there was your money that needed to be gold back, how would you do it? Because the reality is it can be done. I'm going to talk to you, Goldie, about that. But I'm only throwing this out here because I want everybody to give a think to U.S. Treasury Trust accounts, where your money is going to be, and how your money will become gold backed. It ain't happening in the Fed, folks. Things have got to change. Now, here's where Mason comes in. And so, people aren't paying attention to that so much. Some of them are. Actually, some of them aren't. If you don't get that by the end of the time where this stuff goes down, you're going to be at a disadvantage. But, if you don't do it, you're still going to probably be okay because, quite frankly, God, fortune favors the foolish. And so, but you'll do better if you understand where you're at, you understand who you are. And that's what we're trying to bring to you. We're going to keep doing that. And the U.S. dollar refunding project is at the UST level for gold-backed currency. So it's all underway. I'm just not willing to put it on this call without talking to Freedom and Goldie because they deserve to know. They just deserve to know first. So anyway, we'll get there, and we will. It's going to be good. Trust me, you'll be all right. And it's going to be good. All right.
Awesome. Appreciate you, man. Awesome. All right, folks. If you don't have any more questions, we're going to bid you all a good night. We'll give you a few more another few more minutes, an opportunity to raise your hand, and we will call on you. If not, Jester, is Jester's place going to be open tonight?
We're going to stay until about 11, I think.
Okay.
Trish told me that she was, going to make sure everybody didn't get out of line.
Okay.
Not that we got a lot of rules over there, because quite frankly, we don't.
Right.
We even let rebellious slave in there, so it is what it is.
Awesome. All right, beautiful folks. All right. So don't forget, folks, Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues Room is open for your questions in regards to the Goldilocks articles. We are there helping you. And then also don't forget, also Monday through Saturday as well, Jester's Place from 8 p.m. Eastern Standard to 11. And he's in the process of getting the room together with Mason on the Republic room. And then don't forget, Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Anastasia and myself, Higher Learning.